The disaster levels are a measurement used to classify a threat by its capability of destruction. There are only 5 levels that are given by the Hero Association. These are the following ranks in order. We have Wolf, any potential threat that poses a danger to an unknown degree. Then we have Tiger, any threat to a large number of people. And then Demon, any threat to a city and its people. And Dragon, any threat to multiple cities. And finally, the level that is represented by a phoenix, which beautifully symbolizes resurrection and immortality, and is usually associated with deities in some ancient folklores and cultural backgrounds. God, a threat endangering the survival of humanity in general. And although we have seen plenty of extremely powerful monsters and beings in the series that have been shown to be a danger to humanity on Earth, none of them were classified by the Hero Association to be a threat level god. And so today I bring you 5 potential characters that could possibly be designated to this all-imposing class. Our first character on our list here is Evil Natural Water. When we first saw Evil Natural Water, it was contained in this humongous tank that could very well be holding tons and tons of gallons of space. And when it was released alongside with its bloodlusted man-eating piranha-like fish, the sentient liquid immediately began to chase and shoot high-pressure water jets that were strong enough to penetrate through even steel. Evil Natural Water stands several meters tall and seems impervious to most physical attacks, at least being able to withstand bullets and even slashes and hacks from the swordsmen. But Evil Natural Water didn't stand a chance when it came to Darkshine's immense strength, and even when it seemed that Evil Natural Water was defeated by Darkshine's punch, Evil Natural Water came back in the fight between the Cadres and the S-Class like if nothing had happened. And it seems like Evil Natural Water can re-emerge and regenerate as long as there is water nearby that it could absorb, whether it be from a body of water or even in the air from water particles. So what if we took this mass of water that began to shoot high-speed jet beams and can embody creatures within itself, and we make it 50 times bigger or 100 times bigger than what it already is? Well, we got exactly what I'm describing, and that is Evil Ocean Water. When Sage Centipede rose up from the ground and claimed that he was sent to destroy the abominable fist that turned against God, he then also mentions Evil Ocean Water, who began to emerge, crashing and shape-shifting, almost contorting its body, where its head has these 2 big eyes. And the fact that Evil Ocean Water embodies just an ocean there that's nearby the city that they're fighting in, I can only imagine what could happen if he decides to absorb the entirety of the world's oceans. What if it just started to flood every city, basically every continent on the planet? I mean, not only could it essentially flood and cover the entire planet, I can only imagine what it could do if it were to absorb every ounce of liquid there is on Earth. At that point, it would have killed off almost every being that can't survive in water, and it doesn't even have to be water. Evil Natural Water can absorb any kind of liquid substance. So imagine it was able to absorb something like, I don't know, molten lava, then I guess we'd have sentient lava shooting lava beams or just burning people by flooding the cities with lava. I can only imagine the type of damage and destructive power Evil Ocean Water truly has. But that's why I say Evil Ocean Water could be classified as a god level threat. Most of humanity would not stand a chance against an apocalyptic type flooding. Our second character on our list here is the former leader of the Monster Association, Psychos. A very intelligent character who is not only a genius but a strategist. She is a mastermind when it comes to manipulation. She often schemes and plots around the other members of the Monster Association, geared towards experimental needs, and even fooled the monsters and the Hero Association into thinking that she was one of them, aka a monster, by controlling a meat puppet. And not only that, but she's very capable of creating monsters that are extremely powerful and on the threat level of dragon. And of course, an example of that would be Evil Natural Water. So the fact that she has great authority over monsters and has the potential to create these beings and monsters as powerful as the cadres, then that already makes her a threat to humanity as a whole. And even if she may not have the same control she does now, she is still extremely capable of being a menace because she's a powerful espers with abilities like energy projection, gravity manipulation, telepathy, and etc. But we know that Psychos has somewhat of a superiority complex, and because of this, her low confidence in being a powerful esper drove her to look for greater power by researching an ability that would allow her to see into the future, in which she was able to do to an extent, but this led her to go mad, insane, because of the horrible future she saw, and this would later make a connection with the divine-like being known as God. And in her battle with Tatsumaki, in where Psychos fused with Orochi, amplifying her powers tenfold, she believes that she could be able to become the ultimate life form by becoming the Earth itself. And even though she was defeated by Tatsumaki and the S-Class, Psycho still manages to get away and ends up in the hands of Fubuki in the latter half of the Psychic Sisters arc. The fact that she alone was able to create and form this plan behind the scenes for several years and almost succeeding to an extent and managing to kill off some characters in the process, causing widespread and continental destruction and being able to create dragon level threats, really makes me think that she could be classified as a god level threat. And you know, with her connection with God, you never know what she could be scheming behind the scenes and what kind of reckoning she could bring upon humanity. Coming in at our third spot here on our list of potential characters that could be classified as a god level threat is Boros. I think a lot of you saw this coming, as Boros has been held to be in the upper echelon of strong characters in the One Punch Man verse for years now, and for good reason. His immense strength and super fast speed and reflexes gave Boros the chance to land multiple hits on Saitama, even blowing him away at times with his attacks, and is also seen catching Saitama off guard mid-battle. When Boros does receive damage, he just instantly regenerates any damage taken or regrows any loss of his limbs. Along with this, he has the ability to shoot energy projection beams like the collapsing star roaring cannon that could possibly do very serious damage to the Earth itself, or even greater, by I'd say as going as far as to completely blowing up the planet. So take all of this into account and combine it with the fact that he has an army at his disposal with combatants that gave the S-Class trouble, and a spaceship armed with cannons that could wipe out anything within several city blocks. Boros stated that he traveled the cosmos laying waste in order to look for a worthy adversary, meaning that Boros could have very well wiped out planets with beings inhabiting those planets, essentially making him a threat to humanity and even the cosmos. Furthermore, in an anime only scene, we see Busho and Jinzurin assessing the situation and giving orders to the workers to evacuate the city, and when they're asked what the level of the threat is, Busho answered with a threat level dragon, but he then reconsiders the threat to be a god. And this is probably the only time I have seen a threat to be speculated a god level threat by the Hero Association itself. But that's why I say Boros definitely has the potential to be classified as a god level threat. Our fourth character here on our list needs no grand introduction, nor do I think he needs an explanation as to why he can be classified as a god level threat. But nevertheless, I'm going to do it anyways, because Garo truly embodies a dangerous divine aura that sends humanity into despair, and has the feats to prove it. So let's start when Garo stands above the heroes and the staff after getting done shooting the strongest natural phenomenon explosion recorded in the universe, the gamma ray burst. Garo notices that the people below him start to fill with fear as they panic and back away from him, where he proceeds to give thanks to the being that bestowed him divine power, or maybe he's just thanking his inner self. He is then suddenly confronted by a confused and frail Bang, where he is suddenly confronted by a confused and frail Bang. His former master senses that something isn't right within Garo, speculating that someone is controlling him. Bang then shouts at Garo, or rather that someone that's controlling him and demands to give Garo back. Blast then appears from one of his portals, reassuring at the fact that Garo has been influenced and reveals that God is the one behind it. Blast tells Garo that the power he has now is dangerous, and if unleashed, it could endanger the very existence of all living things. Following this, several panels were shown of people dying or perhaps already dead due to Garo's cosmic radiation that he was emitting simply just by standing near them. These statements and panels alone in this chapter really set in stone that Garo has achieved godlike status, and I'd like to imagine what would have happened to the Earth if Saitama and Garo had taken their final battle there. I'd say the planet wouldn't be there anymore. And although the current timelines, Garo lost his cosmic awakened form and of course some of his fists and his perfected fists that he lost, he is still a threat capable of becoming a god level threat. If he ran the gauntlet and beat almost every S-class hero, then I can certainly with confidence say that he could probably do it all over again. Last but not least, the final character on our list here is a no-brainer, and I'm sure everyone saw this coming, but we have God, the ever so mysterious divine being that has been influencing and in a way acting as a puppet master, pulling the strings behind the scenes by bestowing unimaginable power to all living and even non-living beings in the universe, and maybe even other dimensions. God is responsible for creating beings that could endanger humanity and has transcended almost every character that we have seen in terms of power. Probably not Saitama, but that's hard to say since God himself never truly engages in combat but would much rather make beings his avatars to fight for him. Perhaps because he is sealed to an extent and he can't really fight himself? You know, because God never really tried to stop Saitama from time traveling, but instead opting to turn Garo into dust. So it seems that God doesn't really have that type of capability to get into a physical fight, but rather be able to take away life from anyone that he bestows power upon. He really only manifests himself in front of a person when he wants to, like when Zombie Man holds down Homeless Emperor, just as he witnesses God on the moon before his very eyes and before his life and power were taken away from him. It's also theorized by Dr. Genus that God is the reason why there is a limiter on every living being, or just every being in general, but as we know, Saitama was able to remove this limiter, and because of that, God kinda has something against him. And you know, God will essentially stop at nothing and will throw anything to get in Saitama's way, and when I mean anything, I mean a threat that could endanger humanity. All in all, God and perhaps Saitama are really the only characters in One Punch Man that are worthy of being in this threat level or category, and we probably won't get an official God level threat classification for a while, and maybe it's going to be used for that big bad or that in-game boss. But until then, we can only wait and discuss about characters that can potentially be a god level threat. And of course, I still have a few more up my sleeve that I can talk about and add to the list. So please let me know if you want a part 2. And of course, let me know down in the comments what characters you think that could be classified as a god level threat. And as always, I'm Emirpunch, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.